Hey, what's up guys, Alex here. Thank you for checking this video and welcome to the last episode, and this time is really through the last episode of the series on how to build a WordPress mega menu. Welcome again. In this last series, we're gonna update the Walker Nav class that we built at the beginning of this series, and we're gonna take care of printing the mega menu by using the custom fields that we generated in the last video instead of relying on classes like we're currently doing. Before doing that though, we need to fix a small bug that I found out when I was testing my menu. So if you notice here, we created this description checkbox in order to, if an element has a description, we want to print just the description and hide the link, the content, just print the default description. The fact that I created a custom field in my functions.php called description, and just like that, and basically this field is going to be stored in the database as menu item dash description. This field is already used by WordPress. That's why if you use my code and you try to do something and you open a field where you need to write a description, if you write a description and you check the description checkbox that we generated, the description that you wrote is going to get overwritten with a 1 or a 0 if it's empty. That's because both this description checkbox and this description area, they have exactly the same ID in the database. So this is an issue because of a duplicate ID, and WordPress is updating the same custom post field. So let's just update this. Instead of using just description, let's use mm-description. And just to avoid future issues, let's convert everything into let's append always that it's like a sort of prefix for like to state that this is custom field for the mega menu, just in case, just to be sure and just not to create confusion or risk to override a built-in method of WordPress. So now if we go back in our backend here and we refresh the menu section, of course, like all our custom fields are not gonna be saved, but we can reactivate it. So if we activate the mega menu, that's perfect. But before doing everything else, let's just simply check the description here and let's write a custom description. So this is my custom description and see if it saves it properly. Let's update, that's perfect. Let's reopen the description. Awesome, we both have the checkbox that is in place and the current description is not interfering. So if we refresh the front end, now we have our description as well. That is amazing. We fixed that annoying problem that was happening. Now, I'm gonna cut and skip ahead, but the only thing that you have to do if you have the same structure of menu, just apply the classes that you're using to a specific post. For example, a divider, just apply the same checkbox that you want to use instead of the class. Let's just do that, and of course, delete the actual class name. We just want to use the checkbox, so delete this. Let's do it. Perfect. After updating everything, checking the respective class and deleting the class that we were using before, if we refresh our front end, of course, this is going to be converted into a regular drop down like the sample page here to the left, because the system that we set right now, that we have in place right now, if we access our custom Walker Nav class for the front end, the system is checking for a class match. So if it has a future image, search for the future image class inside the classes array, and we don't have those classes in place anymore, so the entire structure is broken. The only and really easy thing that we have to do is replace with this stuff, this like has future image or this custom class, custom variable, or create different custom variable by checking the custom attributes, the custom fields that we saved in the database instead of checking classes. Let's take a look on how to do it. If we access the public function startL, that is the function that takes care of printing our item, and we just do a test, just var dump our $item, we're gonna print the full array of our item in the front end. So if we refresh now, we're gonna have every single element of our menu is gonna get printed, and the array is gonna just print all the attributes that we can access, that we can use. You notice that here we have the title, URL, target, description attribute, and so on, and all the classes that we have assigned. The series here should have a mega menu or mm-mega menu attribute, because that's what we checked. If we go back in the backend and we open series, we have the activate mega menu checked. But if we try to look for it, we don't have that custom element. That's because the default WorldCoreNav class doesn't include automatically by default all the custom fields that we create for the mega menu, or we create for the regular menu. The WorldCoreNav class just takes care of the fields that it knows they belong to WordPress by default. It doesn't go around and look for custom fields that you activated. We have to specify to, every time we loop inside an item, to say, hey, check if this item has some extra custom fields, and if it does, just update the UI. So let's do it. Let's go back in our code editor, let's remove this, and the thing that we have to do is basically the same thing that we are doing in the functions.php in the mega menu fields. We are gathering all the information of our custom post type or a custom field, and we are printing a unique HTML based on those fields. So let's exactly do the same. Let's take this. Let's print it here, and let's say, for example, I want to check if we have a mega menu. So let's define a unique variable called has mega menu. Let's say that the get the post meta needs to check for, in the database, the item ID that is stored. The key is my mm-mega menu, and this is passed as a string, and return through to say this is just one single value. We don't want a multiple values, just one. Okay, if we try to do that and we say, okay, now var dump the has mega menu variable that we just created, we should get 1, like the checkbox 1 value, every time we encounter a mega menu, or we encounter an element, an item that has this custom field. But if we check and we refresh the page, actually, it's always empty. Like for every single item, it's always empty. There's not a single item that is not empty, even if the second item should be checked, because in the backend is checked, activate mega menu for the series. So why is not printing? That's because of what I told you in the last lesson, in the last episode. I told you that the custom fields for a menu saved in the database are not saved with this unique ID that we specify in our array, but WordPress needs to add the menu-item- and then your custom ID. So in order to retrieve that data, we need to check for the post meta with this appended. So the menu-item- and our ID. Now, if we do that and we refresh the front end, see, the second item, that is the series button, has 1. That means now, if this has mega menu, just simply change this. So if the array search mega menu classes blah 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 is not false, so if the mega menu class is inside the classes, we assign this, we can just simply say that has mega menu, this mega menu ID, it's equal to the item ID. And because with the checkbox we're returning 1 or 0, that means that if it's 1, so it's check, it's through. For a condition, if you pass 1, it's through. If you pass 0 or empty null, it's false. So we are doing a really simple check. If this has the mega menu, so it's through, it's checked 1, let's assign what we were doing before. The only thing that we have to do now, we have to get all the post meta the same as we have in our field. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy these elements here. And we need to store those values into variables that we're going to replace for all the checks that we're doing. So let's do it. Now, let's go around and replace the classes that we were checking with these has column divider divider, footer image, and description. We already took care of the mega menu, so that's perfect. If we save it and we go back in the front end and we refresh, we should have our kind of like mega menu structure that we're having, because it's different from the regular dropdown. So the mega menu class has been applied. Now we need to apply all the other things. So that's pretty straightforward. Here, if it has the column divider, we can check has column divider. If has column divider, do this. That's perfect. Let's comment this out, save, go back in the front end. We refresh, we open the series. There's not a column divider. Why is that? That's because we're missing the CSS that before we were adding with a custom class. If we check in the actual HTML, you see we have the columns split when we want the column to happen. So the HTML is actually printing, but because we're not using anymore the column divider class in the list of classes, that list of classes is not applied anymore to the item. So the item doesn't have the column divider, and our CSS cannot detect the column divider and use it to print the proper column divider and align everything. So what we have to do, and this will feel kind of like an extra step, is array push. And the array push, we need to specify what array we want to use and then the variable that we want to use. And in our case, we want to push in this array the column divider class. So if we do this and we save, and we go back in our front end, refresh and open the series, and we inspect the element here, we have our column divider class. You notice here in the list of classes, we have our column divider. But as you notice, the mega menu still doesn't look right. That's because we don't have the mega menu class that we were using here, mega menu. If we add the class mega menu, our mega menu is gonna start looking legit, like we style in the CSS. Basically, we have to exactly do the same. Use the array push to push the class. So here, if these has a mega menu, let's array push the class that we removed before, mega menu. Save it, let's go back in our front end, refresh, open the series, and now we start to see the structure of the mega menu. This could feel like an extra step, like why, if before we were using classes and automatically the classes were inside the classes array, why we are doing this extra step of pushing the custom class in the classes arrays. Can we not just use the classes directly inside the backend and use those? Yes, you can totally do that, but the problem with that is that you're asking the user to remember what type of class you're writing. Instead, in this way, even if it's an extra computing step in PHP, you're managing those classes. Those classes are written only here, only in your worker nav class, and you can deal with those without letting the user misspell the class or have a typo or forget about the classes. You can deal with them completely automatically. So that's pretty handy. Let's continue by doing the check to see if this has a divider. And if it has a divider, let's do the same. Array class divider. Actually, I don't know if this is necessary, but let's just do it. It doesn't really matter. It's not an extra step. Then we need to check for the has the footer image and the has the description. So let's search for the footer image that should be inside the A tag. That's perfect, this one. So let's check if has footer image and the mega menu ID is different from 0. Let's do all these things, but that's also array push in the classes, the class that we don't have anymore, the footer image class, and let's comment it out. And this is a suggestion that I want to give pretty much to everyone. When you're changing the code of like from something that it's actually working and it's good, always comment, never delete, at least for like the first step. Like do a comment, update the code, check if the code works, commit, like push it to a Git repository, and if after a couple of days everything works and you keep working and you don't need to maintain this old code, you can delete it, but don't delete it immediately right off the bat because something could go wrong potentially. So just an advice. The last thing that we have to do is to check a description, and to check a description is kind of like Okay, we can always also avoid to have this, because if we scroll down in the WalkerNav class, by default, automatically we have this built-in inside WordPress. So WordPress is checking if the item has a description written that is bigger than 2 characters, it's printing the description for us. So in this case, we can avoid to have the checkbox of description and just letting the user write a description if they don't want to have anything else. But if the user has the check of description, we want to add the class description to cancel whatever we have in that field, because could happen that the user wants a description but wants to also maintain the link, the URL. So we don't want to hide it. We don't want to hide the unique URL or like the link if the user has a description, and that's it. We just want to hide it if the user checks on the description. So close to the if statement, we can do another extra condition, if statement. So if has description, we can just do the usual array push and add the description class. And let's see if it actually apply filter classes. I'm checking if we added too late item output. Yeah, we added too late because here we are printing in the output the classes. So we need to do this if it has a description way before the output of the class. And it's the same for the future image. So let's do it before the implosion of the class name. So it has description, just push it here. And let's do the same for if has future image. Let's copy these, let's remove this stuff, and let's add it here. If has future image, mega menu, here we can remove the mega menu stuff. So if has future image, let's add the future image class, and let's check if we have extra array push here, column divider, we're doing just a column, the divider, then the mega menu, then the future image, then the description. Perfect. We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 mega menu, column divider, divider, future image, and description. 5 unique custom fields. Let's go back in our front end. Let's refresh. And we have a mistake here. Divider class position in WalkerNav 73. I did something wrong. 73, 72, 73. Yeah, divider class position. Okay, we are unsetting the class of divider class position. We don't need to do that anymore because we're not storing this variable. That's perfect. Let's check if we have another unset just in case. Children element. No, that's perfect. Okay, we were not storing the divider class inside these unique variable, so we don't need to unset this variable. Let's refresh. Boom. If we open the regular dropdown, it's there. And if we open our mega menu, there you go, it's there. And something is missing here because this is a weird description. What is happening? We have some weird style here. Okay. Description is here. Class. Oh, see what happened? Okay, so we need to actually don't add the divider class, because if we have a divider class, look what happened here. It's not good. So we actually need to cancel, remove, unset the divider class. That's actually, I didn't know that. That's amazing. So if it has a divider, just print a divider and don't push the divider. Don't add the divider to the classes array. Wow, that's why this unset was happening, because it was removing the divider from the class and it was avoiding to have the issue with the CSS. So yeah, good to know. I didn't know that. I learned something. That's amazing. So if we open now, we have everything and it works perfectly. Look at that, our regular link post. This is a custom description, and we have our future image that everything is clickable. We have the description with a future image that is not interfering, and that's awesome. Okay, so that's pretty much it. In this entire series, we learn how to create the WalkerNav class to print a custom mega menu whenever and however we want. We learn how to create custom fields in the administration area to add functionalities and add features to the default appearance menu admin area, and then we learn how to use those to not use classes anymore and just print everything automatically how we want it. And that's pretty amazing. I know it's kind of like the Walker Nav class is kind of like the most overwhelming part of WordPress other than the settings API. I feel like the settings API are way worse, but learning the Walker Nav class is really important because every time you need to do something like this, something custom for a menu, you need to use the Walker Nav class. You cannot expect to not use a Walker Nav class if you want to customize the default behavior of a menu in WordPress. And the good thing is that you can have multiple Walker Nav classes, because if we access the header.php and we scroll down where we're printing the menu, WP nav menu, we are adding this Walker class, that is this one, the new class that we created, to only this menu. So we could have potentially 5, 6, or how many different Walker Nav classes to print different menus in different ways and not interfere with each other, because a Walker Nav class is not a global setting. You're just affecting the menu that you want the Walker Nav class to use. So that's amazing. So it's pretty much it for this series. We finished the mega menu. Thank you so much guys for following through all these 8 videos. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as usual, give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. If you want, please spend a couple of minutes on the support me page of my website to check all the ways and methods to support me, support my channel, and help me to do better videos and better tutorials for you. Thank you so much guys, and until the next time, as usual, happy coding.